Hey guys, my name is Pamela and welcome back to my channel, At Home With Me. Alright guys, we're back. I hope that you guys liked that first video. You know, it was pretty choppy, but it was because I had a lot to say and I was trying to not make it more than 10 minutes and then I ended up making it 12 minutes. I think that was pretty good. Anyways, let's move on. I want to talk to you guys about coping with deployment, and I'm specifically going to talk about Sean's first deployment because I feel like that was the one that I did a lot of my growth in as a mom and as a person, period. This topic is actually a really personal one. I overcame a lot of difficulties during it, so I want to be as real as possible with you guys and share as much as I can. So that you can overcome any difficulties or any doubts you may have with the whole SF situation. So I didn't have the best experience with Sean's first deployment, and I think a lot of that was because I didn't have any support system in place. And then also because I was really young. I also thought that I was super independent and I didn't need anybody. I thought I'll be fine. I don't need any friends. I don't need any advice from anybody that's done this before. You get my point. I felt like I'll take care of it on my own. I'm gonna be fine. But going through deployment has nothing to do with how independent you might be or how emotionally strong you are. I was so naive. You know, I thought it was all about me being strong, and it really wasn't. Being able to cope with deployment is about learning and is about taking in everything that is given to you, whether it's friendship, whether it's advice, whatever it is, you're gonna need that help. I was also barely 21 when Sean and I got married, and at that point we had a 5-month-old. So not only was I learning how to be a spouse, but I was also trying to figure out how to be a mother. And I know a lot of you are probably going to be like, whoa, like that's really young. And you know what? Yeah, it was really early, but Sean and I fell really hard. And I felt like I could start my life with him. So we moved on and we had a kid together and we got married. And honestly, it's been 10 years and we've never looked back. So with that said, if you're young and you're starting your relationship with your spouse, please, 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 please know that you might not know it all. Keep that in mind. You have to acknowledge that you are young and that you might be a little bit naive towards some things. And if you feel alone and that nobody understands what you're going through, that's what I'm here for, okay? I want to share my experiences, and I hope that this video helps you a little bit in some way. Without any support from Sean's side of the family, and then barely any support from mine, we started our deployment journey. I remember that morning when he left, we couldn't even sleep that night before, and we stayed up watching a movie till like 3 in the morning, and then he left at like 6 a.m. Somebody came to pick him up. And we said our goodbyes, kept it super simple, okay? I love you. Please write me as much as you can. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it because I knew that if I did, that it would hit him a little bit more and it would honestly make me more upset too. So at the moment, we lived in Bamberg, Germany on a second floor of a little apartment on base. And it had a little balcony, and I remember looking out that balcony every night and really just feeling alone and just waiting for his email. That's the one thing I remember, was that I was always waiting for an email because I didn't have anybody else to really talk to. So that was already just a lot of sadness. Every night I would start to smoke a cigarette just to kind of calm my anxiety. Sometimes I would take shots of, just alcohol. And I'm not talking about I would get like drunk, okay? I would just take like 1 shot or 2 max to help me fall asleep. That was really hard. I feel like I just felt like I was falling into a little bit of a depression. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to my mom's because family is supposed to make things better, right? Well, my mom is Hispanic, and that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. So when I got to my family's house, immediately I started to feel this just negative energy, criticism, negative comments, a lot of fighting. And I realized, why am I here? And the only thing that actually made it really nice being there was my friends. I remember they threw me like a post-baby shower because I couldn't have one beforehand because I was so far away. And they made me feel so welcome. But then every time I would get home, it would just be fights. And it was just, first of all, it was horrible to have around my kid. And also, it would just put me in such a horrible mood. I felt like I wasn't able to grow as a mom while I was there. I was just always angry and upset, and then I started making reckless decisions, and I started smoking even more, and I started drinking. I had to hide the fact that I would take shots at night because then that would, start up another conversation. So, and I had planned to be there from the moment he left till about Christmas time, so that I could spend the holidays with some family. And I realized that I needed to get out of there because I started feeling like I wasn't myself. I started feeling like I was just always upset and irritated. So I bought my tickets back. I took the 8-hour flight back to Germany with Mia, and I started the journey by myself with her. And honestly, it was probably the best thing I could have done at that point. If you have family members that are super supportive and that love you and really care about you, and not just you, but also, your spouse, and if you have kids, also your kids, then please reach out to them because they're probably going to be a huge, huge help while your husband or wife is deployed. Unfortunately, there are cases where family doesn't make things any better, and that was my case. Some people might feel pressured into going back to their families because that's what people do in the military. It seems like every time your partner gets deployed, the spouse goes back home. And honestly, I feel like your home is where your husband is and where your kid is. So I did hear from Sean weekly, not every single day, but he would write me emails. And for the most part, he was really busy. He would go on missions for like a week or two, and so I wouldn't hear back. But when he was back at the base, he would write me every night if he could, and most of it was just filled with, what he did throughout the day. He spent a lot of his time working out and getting physically ready for selection, because when he would come back, he was going to go to selection a week later, which that was already rough to think about, right? He hadn't even been home yet, and we already had plans for him to leave again. But that's just kind of how the military goes, so get used to that one. So on top of that, the FRG leader, she or he is supposed to contact you and send you emails and updates about the guys when they're deployed. I did not get any communication from an FRG leader, but that was partly my fault. So just know that when you guys are entering that military life, that you are getting in contact with the FRG leader and that you're giving them your information so that he or she will send you all the information that they have on the guys or the girls while they're on deployment. So how I made time go by faster. Honestly, it was all about making friends that were also in the same situation that I was in. I also feel like Mia became my best friend. She wasn't even 1 yet, and she was my best friend. I did everything with her. I even did, I remember we would film videos together for Sean so that we can send it over to him so that he felt like he was part of our day. And I think that was really special because not only did those videos make it to him, but I have those memories stored away of me and her. And I'll be able to show them to her when she's older. So I also took Mia out a lot to children events, little concerts for kids, anything that the MWR was hosting overseas in our base, I was pretty much attending. I felt like I needed to get out of the house, and I feel like that helped a lot because it would actually force me into doing things by myself. So for me, Mia was a really big part of my growth. So little by little, I started to feel like myself again. And I stopped drinking at night and I stopped smoking. I started replacing those with just having a movie night with Mia and letting her stay up a little longer. Ordering a takeout and watch a movie by myself after Mia would go to bed, and that would be me time. And I think that things like that really helped me realize I can still live life with Mia and not have to feel lonely. And Sean would write me here and there, so I didn't want my emails to be empty, so I would fill my days with activities so that when I did write him, I was telling him, that I was doing a lot. And I think that helped for him too because it kept him at ease. It kept him thinking that I was okay and that things were good on my end with Mia and that he just needed to worry about himself. So as time went by, things got a lot easier. I started developing a routine. Our days were pretty full. And then on weekends, I tried to plan a big event for me and her. That way we weren't just sitting at home. Christmas and her birthday came around, and those two were really rough, I think, emotionally on me. Her birthday was okay. I just tried to make it as best as I could, but Christmas, I felt like I was somehow failing Mia because both her parents were not there. The one thing that made me feel really good was that Sean sent her a bunch of little gifts for her to open, and I felt like that showed me that he was thinking about us a lot, and that I don't think I've ever really thought about that until now. But it was rough. However, the gifts made it just a lot better for me, just emotionally. I knew that, Mia doesn't care. She just cared more about playing with the boxes that the gifts came in rather than the actual toy. But it meant a lot to me that he thought about Christmas and he sent so many gifts for her, and that really helped. So shortly after that, Sean was home, finally. It was such an amazing feeling to have my husband back at home and know that he was okay. Although it may be hard to see them go and not be able to see them again for 6 to 9 months, you still need to be able to grow as a person, and you need to be taking care of yourself so that when that person comes back, you're there for the next phase of their life, which is post-deployment. So I hope that you guys like this video. I hope that you guys find it helpful. I hope that you can apply some of that stuff towards your first deployment with your partner. I'm probably gonna have a second part to this video so that I can let you guys in on Sean's second deployment and how that went, because that was a completely different experience from this first one. Thank you so much for watching, and till the next one.